ready to put my hardware on, and I'm going to be using split rivets. I tried nuts and bolts. I felt like that when the machine went in and out, I felt like the machine might get scratched. So I took those out. I searched around. I also tried screws, and I was afraid that they might pull out with the latches. It might not be sturdy enough and it might pull out of the wood. So I ordered 10/16 nickel split rivet steel split rivets from Ohio Travel Bag. And I had also ordered 1/2-inch split rivets from Amazon. Both rivets have a diameter of 1/8 of an inch. And I'm going to have to drill some of the holes out in the hardware for these to fit in. The heads are bigger than on the original cases in the front. Those split rivets are smaller diameter and have a smaller head, and they are brass instead of nickel. But I'm going to use the same either 1/2-inch or 10/16 all over my case. I'll use the 1/2-inch on the back hinges. I'll use them on the bottom of the latches, and the longer split rivets will go up on the part that comes down, the latch that comes down. Because of the depth of the latch, it needs just a little more length in here. This is a piece of wood that is just the width of the cases, and I have one split rivet in, and you can see that it's in there, and I've hammered it down. When you put the longer split rivet in, and I'll show a close-up picture of this, the metal part down here is taller than the wood itself, and you need part of the split to be down in the wood also so that it'll grab and hold. So the longer one I just used on the front, on the top, I used a 1/2-inch on all the others. So the way I did it was I put my hardware on and my split rivets. I'll show you with these. Another thing, these split rivets are wider, the 1/2-inch ones, so you may have to pinch those in just a little bit to get them in your 1/8-inch drilled hole. Okay, I have both of them in. And then when I put my hardware on, I also put a piece of painter's tape over them just so they don't get scratched up. I'm using a piece of oak, and you need something hard to set the head of your split rivet on so it doesn't bounce and it opens up nicely. And just the oak wasn't enough, so in here I have a little piece of scrap metal, and I've just taped it on here. Just a small piece of scrap metal, because you need something really hard so your rivets don't bounce. So when I put them on the case, and I will put a few of the ones on my case where you can see, you want to make sure your head is on the metal, some solid surface. So I'm going to turn these around so you can see the split. And if you're only doing one case, you can just use a screwdriver and widen these out a little bit so you can hammer them down. But I bought a tool from Ohio Travel Bag, and it has a wedged end, so you can put that right between the splits. Make sure it's on the metal. Tap down, and it splits that rivet apart. This rivet is too long because you can see the split is a good 1/16 of an inch above the wood, so it's not going to latch in there good. Here's the 1/2-inch one. Split it apart, and it's split really nicely. Then you just take and hammer that flat down. This one, if I hammer it down, I'm going to get it back on my metal part. curves around, but it has nothing to curve into. So your length is the important thing. You need part of the split itself down in the wood or they're too long. On my case, 1/2 inch split rivet and 10/16 worked perfect. And they're both 1/8 inch diameter. I have 3 of the 4 on this part of the latching mechanism done, and I've used the 1/2 inch, the 1/2 inch by 1/8 split rivets on here. And what I did was I cut my hole out of the material, placed this in here, and then I taped it down and made sure that my latch would move. Wanted to make sure that latch would move on me. And once I had it in and I measured up here to make sure it was level on both sides, I've already got the other side done, but I measured to make sure it was level. And then I put painter's tape. I put my rivets in and put painter's tape over them. So it's all on there good. The problem is with these latches, there were smaller rivets in there, and I haven't found any yet that are smaller. They were also brass instead of silver. So these are nickel. So what you have to do is the hole is smaller than the diameter of your split rivet. So you don't have to drill out much, but you have to drill out. I have an 1/8 of an inch drill bit on here. Just ream it and make it a hair bigger because the diameter of my split rivet is an 1/8 of an inch. And when the split rivets come, they're just a little too wide to go in here. The base is, but they've kind of split the rivet a little bit. So I take it and I just push these together, but not all the way. And then it slides right in. I put painter's tape over my rivets. One thing to hold it in, and just to keep it safe from my little wooden tool. Put a book up here to prop my case up the same height as my tool. And then put my tool in, make sure the metal ledge is under your rivet, because if it's not, it'll bounce even in oak and your rivet won't go in nice. Got that metal bar directly under my rivet, so it won't bounce at all on the wood, because I had to squeeze my split rivet a little bit to get it through the hole. I'm going to use my pliers first and then use my tool. And you want to hammer down as straight as possible, so your split rivet will go both directions evenly. Doesn't really matter. You can use your hammer and hammer it down. Then hammer down, flat, and into the wood. And that's how easy it is to get the split rivets on. Once you get all 4 of your split rivets on, remove your painter's tape and make sure that they're on there nice and tight. I've got some little blue painter's tape marks on there, but that will come off. Make sure they're on there good and tight. If not, you may have to take that rivet out and redo it. They're just as hard to get out, the new ones, as the old ones were. Another thing that I would suggest is here where your latches go, I would get a thin piece of cardboard. I'm going to cut a thin piece of cardboard and put in here the size of the rectangle of the back of the latch, because otherwise, once you put your lining in and you pick up the case and grab it, this pushes in and goes onto the latch. And I just glue it in a couple spots, or just put double-sided tape so it'll hold in there. And then when I cover the inside, you won't have the give where it meets that latch. Okay, I'm doing the same thing on the back. I drilled my 1/8 of inch holes out where my latches go, put my rivets through there, and I'm gonna tape those on. Once again, you want to get your metal. You want to get the metal part, not the wood part. You can see in here where my metal is. You want to get that under the rivets. And because my lining is going to come up to within 1/4 of an inch of the top, I'm going to go in and put my screwdriver in that rivet, and I'm just going to turn it till my rivets will split out this direction. I don't want them up above my material. Same thing as I did on the front. Put my tool in, tap straight down. Once again, tap straight down, and then make sure it's still on the metal. Hammer those in, and finish the other one, and you're done with the back. Okay, I have my front holes drilled, and I'm ready to put my rivets in. I'm going with the longer rivets because of the depth right here on the spring hinge. The 1/2 inch is not long enough, so I'm using let's see. I am using the 10/16 nickel split rivets from Ohio Travel Bag on these. So I'm going to stick them in my holes. And I'm going to do those down just like I did the ones in the back. Flip those over and hammer those down exactly like I did the ones in the back. If you have already covered your case and your materials all laying down, then you can just cut a little circle of material and glue that little circle of the OD coated material on top of your split rivet. So I would pick a piece of material that kind of goes with this. This has got the tan in it. I cut a circle and just glue it over that split rivet. I decided on this one not to glue this edge until I put my hardware on.